My gosh. But our story is just starting. It gets worse. It turns out Barack was on a board of community organization. He was the star. He was the man. He was the guy. They handpicked him. You need to run this. He could have picked any board. Any board could have picked him. Out of all the hundreds and thousands of boards, he happens to be sitting on the same one as the domestic terrorist. I mean, is that rough luck or what? You're like, oh, crap. The one that picks me is that one? And then he serves on another board with Ayers. I mean, he couldn't get more unlucky. Is he cursed? I'm worried that maybe he's cursed. Does somebody have a voodoo doll against him? Now, I don't want this all to be doom and gloom. I want you to know that they have hit some lucky patches. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I mean, how could they go on just victims of all of these ill-timed events and chance meetings and friends that turn out to be practical enemies of the state or former prisoners? My goodness. Well, it's not all bad news. I mean, according to Barack and Michelle, they did have one stroke of luck. They got rich. You won't, because when they get in, then they'll help you get rich. But they just happened to stumble into it. It had nothing to do with hard work or anything. In fact, Michelle Obama put it, quote, it was like Jack and his magic beans, end quote. Man, I guess you have to be really unlucky for a very long time to get Jack and his magic beans to make you a millionaire. So at least now they could put food on the table several million times. Although in a way, even that was bad luck, because it kind of hurt the couple's message that you need the federal government to make it. It's like, no, but wait. We were only lucky. Turns out federal government, they weren't the ones that helped the Obamas get rich. They were amazing. I mean, just think of the odds in the other way on how unlucky they've been. They are the one couple who has been able to make it without the government. So now they had some money. Luck. Victims? No. Lucky victim. Very unlucky, but sometimes lucky victims. So they decided to buy a new house because they got money now. They're like, hey, let's buy a new house. I mean, that's the American dream. And his wife said, no, that's the American promise. And so they went out, and they were like, we can't afford these houses. This is too expensive. Even for us millionaires, we can't afford these houses. But they got a lucky deal. They got an amazing deal. The seller decided to split their lot into two lots. This almost never happens. They're like, we want to buy this, but we can't afford it. And they're like, what can we do? You know what? I like you guys so much. Why don't I split this lot into two? I wonder if there's anybody that wants to. Oh, my gosh, there's a buyer. And a buyer for the other half of the lot just showed up. It was incredible. Again, what are the odds? So the Obamas bought one half, and somebody else, I don't know who it was, bought the other. I mean, has anything happened like that with you? I've never even heard. Again, very, very unlucky, lucky victims. Because victimization is right around the corner, right? As soon as they start feeling lucky, victimization sets in. So it was so exciting because not only did they get the home for $300,000 under market value, and this is in 2005 when home prices were going through the roof. The person was like, I like you guys so much, I'm going to sell it to you for $300,000 less. And somebody else who we don't know yet is going to buy the other part of this lot. And on the same day that they closed on their new property, the buyer who bought the other side was closing on theirs. It was so exciting, and their new neighbor was nice. They got to know him. He was Tony Rezko. And out of the kindness of his heart, he paid the full price for the empty lot that had been sitting there for months, which made it possible for the Obamas to get a $300,000 savings. Oh, so lucky, those victims. And then, because Rezko is such a great guy, he was like, you know what, I don't want to live there. Why don't I sell my strip of land so you can have a bigger yard? And no one would buy the lot that, that that Resco paid for. Nobody would buy it anyway, so he's like, I'm not going to live there, and there's nobody will really buy it. Why don't you guys buy it? It's incredible. And what luck, because Tony Resco is a political fundraiser, Now, here's the victimhood again. Little did they know. Who would have seen this one coming? This political fundraiser who bought the land that he never lived on gave them this sweetheart deal. Apparently, unbeknownst to the Obamas, he was into sweetheart deals with politicians. And just this year, he was convicted of several counts of fraud and bribery. But that's not the Tony Resco that Obama knew. He just knew the nice neighbor guy who bought the strip of land so he could buy a house. That's it. It was and he's admitted it. Boy, that was a stupid thing for me to do. I don't even know what I was doing there. So, he's learned his lesson. Nice guy, helps you buy and save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Turns out to be a bribe attempt, or at least, not this case. But other cases like that, not this one, but other one. What are the odds? It's just horrible. And as if his luck couldn't even get worse, the champion of the people, the champion of the community organizers. Wait. N doesn't belong there. That's where the O goes. And he's just trying to organize communities. Here he is, the champion, the messiah of the people, in an attempt just to help the community organize. He decides to donate some of his campaign money to a group who's also out there just getting everybody organized. But out of all of the groups, out of all of them, out of the gazillions of groups that are out there getting communities organized, out of the phone books of every city in America, he can just page through. What's the one he stops on? My goodness, Charlie Brown. He finds the one that's committing voter fraud in every single swing state. What are the odds? And to make things worse, there are employees who are supposed to be nonpartisan wearing Acorn for Obama shirts, which doesn't look good, but once again, you'll never get ahead because the system is stacked against you. And you want to talk about the number one victim in America, it is Barack Obama. Oh, by the way, just have to throw this in. His mentor, here he is, a dad who abandons him, and hey, let's do some father and son things. And he comes up with this mentor, this guy named Frank. He writes about him in his book. And he just hangs with him, and he teaches him and everything, and he's great. Turns out that Frank is Frank Marshall Davis, a communist. A well-known communist back in the 60s. And he hates capitalism. What horrible luck! What are the odds? Out of all the fatherless mentors he could find, he finds the communist? I just have to tell you, he's the most luckiest victim I have ever seen, but I just fall to my knees and pray that when Barack is elected, his bad luck streak of friends and associations finally ends. He wins that presidency, and he's I feel like the luckiest man alive. It would be great, wouldn't it? Keep your fingers crossed. I hope he doesn't have any unlucky days at the White House.